Angela Rakis, welcome to the Modern Sales Management Show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So what I'm looking forward to talking to you about in this conversation is really getting under the surface in how sales teams can develop a stronger value proposition and operationalize that. But before we begin, can you tell this audience a little bit about the types of teams that you've worked with, your career path, and how you decided that this was something that you wanted to help companies solve?
Sure, absolutely. I have got over 20 some years of sales experience. Over 10 of that, I started out my sales career at IBM, and wonderful organization, had the benefit of going to sales training every year, whether I liked it or not. And in retrospect, now I'm very grateful for that formal training. And so worked at a variety of different places since then and found that being able to apply the structure that I learned at IBM into smaller companies really helped them grow and accelerate their growth. And it was very rewarding, really, really fun to watch people, expand and grow and get the training and support they've not had before. So I'm loving what I'm doing right now.
Tell me a little bit about that structure that you believe in so much, without giving away your secret sauce. What does that look like? Paint the picture.
Yeah, so it starts with really understanding the value prop, who you're selling into, what your solution is to those buyers, and the benefits they receive. So basic sales structure, but going through a formal workshop or engagement that hasn't been offered to a smaller company before. A lot of my clients are no sales experience or new to sales experience, started their own company and found themselves managing salespeople that they never expected to have to do before. So how do you write a account plan and motivate them and those types of things? So I jump in and do that heavy lifting for them, and then hand it back to them if that's what they want, or help them find a long-term VP of sales to run it for them.
So when you're brought in as a fractional VP of sales for a company and they're not hitting their sales goals, what is the first place you look?
It really goes down to, does everybody know the value prop of the company? Do we know what we're selling? It is really surprising to ask that question that seems so basic. Do you know what we do? Do you know what we sell? And find the different answers I get across the organization. Everyone explains it a little bit differently. And so to bring everyone together as a team and work through what is our value proposition, what are we selling, making sure the operations team agrees with what the sales team is selling. There's usually a disconnect between those two groups, and just helping get everyone aligned on the value that the company brings to their clients.
Now it's easier said than done. What are the hurdles that you run into? Because the people listening to this, the VPs of sales, the CEOs, the chief revenue officers that are listening to this, want the same thing. They see what they need to do, but there's a lot of times roadblocks that they run into. What are some of those hurdles, and how can people get around them?
It does take their engagement to make sure that everyone knows their vision. Usually the CEO is the founder of the company and has a vision for why he started the company. And he needs to take the time to explain that. And as the company grows, as he brings on new employees, as he brings on new salespeople, those salespeople represent his dream and his vision. And we've got to pull that out of him and get it into the salespeople and get them articulating it correctly. So to your point, easier said than done. It's passion. There's a lot of emotion in some of these conversations. And so I really enjoy facilitating those and helping to bring everybody together and get that outlined correctly. And then taking that value prop and make sure it aligns with the target audience. Sometimes the CEO's vision or mission statement has to change a little bit. And so far, I've been lucky enough that all my CEOs have come into agreement, and we've moved forward successfully.
So what are some of your favorite hacks or approaches to getting a sales team on the same page, bringing them together? But are there you're known for your workshops. Are there certain exercises that you found uh, really get results and that you enjoy doing?
I do enjoy listening to all of the sales team together. So this isn't a workshop or an exercise at the executive level only. It is with the actual salespeople, and it's really fun to hear a brand new salesperson jump in and say, here's what I think we do and how it's valuable. And it may be totally different than what any of us thought of before because we've been in the traditional way we've been selling. And so you get these new perspectives. Um, the other thing we're working on now, which is a little bit of taking old strategies and repurposing, is a traditional attack plan that we used to do to go after a target account or strategic account and leveraging that with our network. So get everybody to pull out their phones or everyone log into LinkedIn and who do we know? What we're finding right now is referrals are more important than ever. So we've always known that having a good reference or a white paper, a case study will help you close the deal. But to start the deal, a reference is really powerful. We don't have the opportunity to build relationships like we used to, or at least at the current moment. So that personal reference from someone who has the relationship with the client that we wish we had goes a long way. So after we do the value prop and who our target is, we've started doing a action plan and network outreach plan that's been really fun and eye-opening for everybody. It gets everybody into the sales game.
It's very personal.
Mm-hmm.
So what are the key things that you like to have in place or that you put in place to create a system where a company can produce predictable revenue? Or, if you had to break it down into a framework.
Yeah, we really do need to have some structure. So identifying all the sales stages. So from lead to close, close one, what are those steps and stages and what do we need to be accomplishing in each step? Who do we need to be bringing in from the organization to support? Who needs to approve different things? How do we get pricing done? All of those details mapped out very clearly in a sales strategy, sales plan. And then having the metrics that everybody's going after, financial metrics, deal size, gross profit, all of that defined so that the sales team knows what's expected of them and what constitutes a good deal. That needs to be defined, and then that flows down into comp plans that motivate the team to do exactly what you need them to do.
What's shifted in the past 2 to 3 years? What trends are up and coming, and what used to work 3 years ago and is no longer as effective?
Yeah, I think that every industry is different. Nothing's disappeared for sure. But back to network and using those referrals and actually creating a referral partner network and leveraging people in your community, people you've worked with before. We've always networked, it's always been important, but adding discipline to it, putting your network into your CRM solution and leveraging a CRM solution for your network to go into a new vertical, perhaps, where you don't know anybody in this new vertical. We'll pull out and leverage the network to figure out who we do know, who we do need to know. So being very strategic about growth and remembering that those referrals are the quickest way to a sale. So if you're going into a new market or a new vertical, you're not in that until you've closed at least your first deal. So the quickest way to do it is through a network, through a referral, and leveraging that much more than I recall doing in the past.
How do you onboard a new VP of sales or a new sales manager after you start stepping back from an organization that you've gotten to a certain point? What's the fastest way to get them up to speed so that they're productive and serving their team?
That's where having a good process and strategy and documented playbook comes into, real valuable place in that I can hand that to them, step with them, and show them the dashboards that have already been created. If you've got good metrics already established, pipeline criteria established, CRM is set up in place, it's helping that VP learn how to use the tools that I've already established and the processes that I've already established, and just walking them through it for a good month, right? Making sure they know how to coach their team. That's one of the things I do, is provide training on leadership and coaching, right? How do you motivate, coach, help people get to their goals while still being very personal and working with them as a person and not just being quota focused. And so step them through them with them for a good month, and then I kind of start to step back a little bit. And every month it's a little less, and then after a couple of months they're running, and I'm just there for help.
So one thing I really enjoyed talking to you about is developing sales playbooks, the use of sales playbooks. Can you share with the audience, for those people who are not familiar with the trend in playbooks, what they are, why they're important, and then let's talk about the steps in developing a killer sales playbook.
So sales playbooks have always been around, but I do think they're getting more formalized and having kind of a resurgence. And the best way we've found to put a playbook together is to really get everybody in the room for the value prop definition, and understanding who our target markets are. There's a piece of the playbook that happens at the executive level with the founder, CEO, or current VP of sales to talk about, what are our guiding principles? Who are the clients we don't want? Who are the clients we do want, right? There is a place to say, this isn't our target audience, and I don't want the sales team wasting their time with them. But that's an executive decision. So we'll make those decisions first, and then we'll gather the team together. And then when we come out of the back side of the workshop, it's putting the final document together. But then again, sitting down directly with the executive team, the CFO, and understanding the financials and what are we going to track? What are the KPIs? How do I configure the CRM solution to match the playbook that we've just created? All of that has to be in sync together. Stage one is stage one. Whether you're looking in the playbook or you're looking on your CRM solution, it's all got to be defined and use the same terminology, and cascade the playbook out to the rest of the organization. So it's not just for the sales team anymore, it's for everybody. I believe sales is a team sport, and everyone in the company needs to be in the boat rowing. Everybody has a role to play in the sales process, whether it's delivering exceptional service from the ops team to helping with financial structures from the finance team. We're all in this thing together, representing the company and growing it. So it's a holistic plan that goes corporate wide.
One of my favorite areas of sales is under recognized is adoption of messaging, adoption of playbooks, adoption of sales processes and CRM tools. When you go into a company and they've created a playbook, and nobody's using it, nobody's really understands it, nobody's on the same page, which step did they miss in the development and rollout of that playbook most commonly?
It's really enforcing and watching how the team is using the messaging in the playbook. People are going to cringe when I say it, but good old-fashioned role playing really does make a big difference. So after the playbook's created and you've assigned people to different territories or verticals, or have different messaging, ask them to practice it and then come back and role play and pitch to the CEO or the VP of sales. That's how the team gets it and they can articulate it, and let them practice in a friendly environment, and make sure they really have it crisp. That tends to be where you can get a little more traction. And then in your one-on-ones, working with the sales team every week, you have to reinforce it. You have to ask, did you do a pre-call plan? How did you prepare for the meeting? Or you've got a meeting coming up. Let's talk about the meeting. What's our goal of the meeting? What are we going to do? What questions do we need to ask? That's the job of the VP of sales, to make sure his team is using the tools, using the messaging week to week. Otherwise, it will get left behind.
When you are in a workshop, you're leading a workshop with a company, you have the sales team in there, you have executives in there, you have the top executive in there. What is that dynamic like, and why is it important to have everybody in the room?
It's usually a little tense at first, but we can lighten it up pretty fast. But it does take a commitment from the CEO and the leadership team to kind of be quiet a little bit and listen. And and my job as a facilitator is to get everyone engaged and to call on everybody and make sure people aren't hiding, making sure we don't go down a rat hole, and making sure that everybody has an opportunity to really think through the value in the questions and be very thoughtful about who are our clients and what's important to them, and how can we sincerely help them. And it becomes a conversation around how can we serve our clients best, and how do we get that message to them so they know how much we can help them. And
Why
then
not?
everybody really gets involved.
So why not just have that meeting or that workshop with the sales team? Why involve the senior leadership in the company?
I think it's important to have that leadership view. It's the CEO's company, and these salespeople are representing his company, and everybody's representing the company together. But I have seen disconnects between the sales team and the CEO. And at some point, when it's realized, it's extremely frustrating for everybody. You have a sales team that's like, nobody told me that's what we were doing. Nobody told me that was the direction the company was going. And the sales team is off selling what they've always sold, not knowing that the strategic direction of the company next year was to grow in a different segment. And so the CEO needs to help set that direction. And then that way everybody's in sync.
Have you come out of those workshops where the value proposition has shifted or become tighter than what the CEO had in his or her head?
Mhm. Yeah, we've had some spirited conversations.
Spirited. I like spirited.
Yes, there's been times where the ops team and the sales team just kind of go, we don't think so. We don't. We're not sure that's the right thing to do. And those are the best conversations, right? That's why you do it. That's why you get in the room and you do it face to face, and you come together and you have that conversation, and do it now and do it together, so that you don't have cascading confusion through the whole organization, because that's what happens.
One of the underlying themes of this conversation is how sales leaders can support and serve their sellers. So I want to ask you about what can sales leaders do, executives do to serve and retain their top sales talent?
It's a lot of support, quite honestly. Having a good compensation structure for your VP of sales. There's a debate about, is your VP of sales a pure manager leader, or are they contributor leader? Do they have their own quota in addition to managing and selling a team with a team? So those are two pretty passionate views, right? People get a little passionate about that. But you have to make sure that your VP of sales is there to support the sales team. And his number one goal is that the entire team makes their number, not just him. And that's where choosing a good sales leader is super important, making sure
Some,
that team focused.
what are some other characteristics of an effective sales leader in an organization? Because you do help companies transition to a permanent VP of sales.
Being able to do that coaching and mentoring effectively, super important. Taking the time every week to work with your team and making that one-on-one that you've got on the book for, every Monday at 10 o'clock, we're doing our pipeline call. You as a sales leader have to show up. You can't get busy and cancel it or find other things that are more important and just your sales team's fine. They'll get it. They'll keep doing their thing. That is very, very demotivating to the sales team. As a salesperson, if your manager can't make a 1 hour once a week with you, that's not someplace you really want to be. That's not a leader who you want to stick your neck out for because he can't even make time for you. So as a leader, value your time with your team and make it a priority, and they'll make things a priority for you too.
So I want to, that's a really good point. I want to wrap up this discussion with your insight into how is sales management going to change in the next year or two?
I think the supporting of the team, finding unique ways to get close with a sales team that's far away. We've all been remote for years. That's not anything new. But we all came together after an airplane ride, or, we'd all get together and do a sales call together and we'd see each other sell. And we'd have our war stories, back at the hotel lobby afterwards. And a lot of camaraderie is built through all of that. And I think it's really important to find a way to continue that as we're traveling less and people are getting out less. I'd really like to see the coaching part of sales leadership more of a forefront of the development and the criteria on choosing a good salesperson instead of just, well, he was the best salesperson at the last company, so he'll be the best salesperson here. That's not necessarily the person you want to lead your team. So
That makes a lot of sense. Where do people want to learn about not only what you do, but just connect with you in general? Where can they do that online?
Yep, you can check out my website. It's metissalessolutions.com. And I'm here in Nashville, Tennessee, but I'm happy to go anywhere. I've got clients all over the country, so super fun.
Angela, thanks so much. This conversation has been great. Is there any last sales management advice that you want to leave our audience with?
I think that, most importantly, like I said, is really bringing a team environment, letting everyone contribute and be an important part of the team is key to bringing everyone together, making your goals.
That's a really good note to end on. I want to thank you again for having this conversation and imparting your advice to our audience. And that does it for another episode of the Modern Sales Management Show.